Hello, and welcome to Celebrate, Love Life, and Laugh Together, a project by the Committee for Accessible AIDS Treatment in collaboration with 710 Stories. The people you are hearing on this video are Lori, Vijaya, and Alessandro. We have no conflict of interest to declare. Over the past few years, community champions and activists who dedicated their lives to communities, and particularly youth impacted by HIV, have passed away. Their passing has left family members that are not connected to the HIV community feeling isolated. Racialized communities affected by or living with HIV are consistently faced with loss, either in Canada or their country of origin. We developed an art-based initiative in the guidance of the affected communities to explore creative ways of expressing and sharing their lived experiences. Celebrate 3LT is a narrative art-based initiative that will facilitate an intergenerational dialogue around grief and loss through the creation of picture books. The Legacy Project and the Committee for Accessible AIDS Treatment is leading this project with the support of 710 Stories. The Committee for Accessible AIDS Treatment is a coalition of effective individuals and organizations from the legal, health, settlement, and HIV/AIDS sector committed to promoting the health and well-being of people living with or affected by HIV. The Legacy Project looks to engage diverse PHAs and affected communities in individual and group mentoring initiatives to promote capacity building, reduce social isolation, HIV stigma, and improve access to services and determinants of health. 710 Stories is a consultancy specializing in art and storytelling methods for community engagement and knowledge mobilization. Projects are focused on social and gender justice. Topics of grief and loss are vital to CAT's work, and this project responds to the expressed interest from research participants and community members. This project serves as a tribute to community champions and aims to connect isolated individuals among the community.
In designing the methodology for this project, we first consulted with affected communities to ask what kind of artwork they would want to create. We chose narrative storytelling art forms to develop a series of 6 picture books that conveyed our collective perspectives on grief, death, and loss. Narrative storytelling is a particular art-based approach that is grounded in everyday practices of remembering, relaying, and sharing personal and collective experiences and events. We then developed a facilitation guide with exercises by which to co-create the content and messages of our books. We recruited 2 groups, one including adults 30 years or older, and one with youth 16 to 29 years, for a total of 18 participants. For each group, we held a day-long facilitated session with exercises that engaged reflection on 3 themes. Letters to a loved one, or conveying wisdom. We all hold wisdom that matters. We ask questions such as, what is one thing you would want your loved one or yourself to be hopeful for? Designing the afterlife or building futures. There are many beliefs about what the afterlife might hold for us, and we wanted to collectively imagine what this could look like given our multiple experiences and perspectives. We ask questions such as, who might be in your afterlife with you and where might it be? Writing your eulogy or celebrating life. Celebrating aspects of our lives can be an affirming and valuable process. We ask questions such as, what would you like your people to remember most about you? The editing team then met regularly to create illustrated book drafts. A reflective feedback session was held with each group to review the drafts and gather edits. This added session enabled participants to meaningfully engage in the co-creation process and strengthen a collective sense of ownership.
6 picture books have been created, 3 each from the adult and youth groups. What follows is a summary of each book. Celebration, preservation. While the youth contemplated the uneasy aspects of their lives, they celebrated them as well. This celebration seemed deeply interconnected with a need to preserve and secure those pieces of their lives they wanted to be remembered. There was a tension about the continuity of their lives as they knew it. It should be noted that this was especially true for the African, Caribbean, and Black youth in the group, who voiced clear mistrust of the institution's task to protect and serve them. Celebration of me. For the adult group, the overarching themes that arose were home, migration, family, relationships, and the need to embrace change. Love notes. Youth participants share highly personal stories that were primarily related to relationships with their mothers and families. In the youth group, this was the most personal of the three themed discussions. Letters. Adult participants shared highly personal stories that were primarily related to their relationships with their children and other members of their family and their sense of home. Namba Namba. For the adult group, their afterlife held strong elements of a natural paradise. What was also important were the values of justice, equality, and peaceful human interaction. Why wait after this life? The youth group started out discussing how they would imagine and construct an afterlife, yet their conversation quickly evolved into a more compelling conversation about the ideal life in the here and now.
For the book's launch, we had planned an intergenerational dialogue to foster interaction, reflection, and connection, and increase awareness of grief and loss. We had to postpone this stage due to the current global situation. I like how we share things and how we communicated, working on and sharing of individual stories, creating stories of our own, talking about issues like being safe. Sharing the space, everyone has such a different and interesting experiences interpretation. We would like to acknowledge all the authors from these books, advisory committees, 710 Stories, and the Committee for Accessible AIDS Treatment. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at the information you can see on the screen. Thank you. We would like to dedicate this series to Marisol and Devika and all the wonderful HIV activists who are no longer with us.